because she really injured her shoulder heavily last year, and so this spring we had to kind of like get her back to health, and then we had to work a lot on her technique in tandem with her physiotherapist and strength coach. And if you watch World Cup video and you watch like the Swedes and Norwegians, a lot of them have really moved towards this concept. So when I grew up racing, and how I've typically taught skiing is skiers generally have bad posture when they ski. So you want to stay forward, shoulders are almost a little bit rolled over in order to be able to get good positioning. But what that does is it really puts your shoulders at risk of being in an unsafe position to handle load. Plus, from a structural position, if you talk to anybody who works in functional movement, it's just not a functional place. So something that's happened is we've had to promote elbows out in order to be able to access through the back really well. And a lot of times natural movement is going to be rolling over here, which doesn't really access our back well either. So some people can naturally be here and still be able to use their back. Someone like Daria would be here and just get really rolled over, and it would put a lot of stress on her shoulders, on her back, on her low back as well. So where we've moved to is trying to work more through a neutral spine position. So instead of being rounded, trying to be so shoulders up a little bit higher, chest is out a bit more, and it allows you to not only get on your ski and be able to work really effectively down over your ski, but it also allows you to set your shoulders lower so your shoulders can stay more relaxed. So for people that naturally shrug up in the shoulders when they ski, this will help you to keep the shoulders down. Elbows can come back underneath you a little bit more, which is going to put you in a safer position for your shoulder girdle. And in theory, we should be able to get more power from the upper body and have it go through our legs onto our ski. You watch Sundby, you watch Bjørgen, like they all do a really good job of skiing, both skating and classic in that position. So this spring with Daria, one of the things we did was every time we go and skate or do intensity, we would do just a few basic technique drills to kind of help get her position locked in, and then we'd be able to then go start to work faster and use more pulls from there. So Daria, you want to kind of take them through the few just basic movements you would do before you start doing training?
Yeah, so I would do a bit of legs only, and I would just kind of stand in a position where I'd start from skating and put my hands, one on the front, one on my low back, and just set so it almost felt like I was sticking my bum out a little bit instead of trying to always like tuck it under too much, because if you tuck your lower body under, then the whole body just curves. So I'd kind of try to set it so that I was really using my core muscles in the front and holding them tight, but I had a little bit more, it felt like an arch in my back, but just that neutral spine, so that then my shoulders were able to be in a position from here. I could just ski like this, really focusing on that, and it automatically put my shoulders in a further back position, more better posture, so that when I did get pulls, I was here instead of here. And so I really found that it helped to set my lower body and make sure that the focus was a lot more on like engaging those key muscles essentially. So my physio would make me do, he's like, pretend like when you're trying to hold your pee, those are like some of the most important muscles for when you're skiing, because it just sets up the alignment of your spine. And then from there, I would do a couple laps of legs only, trying to feel that connection through my core and hips, and then I put the arms in and really think about each time I pulled, setting the shoulder blades. So you have that little, like, you're holding them and you just set them down. Kind of what you do before you do a pull-up in the gym, that if you're doing them properly, you're supposed to kind of set your shoulders and then go up so you're working through your lats. And I kind of use that same feeling when I was skiing, and slowly I'd forget about it a bit, and then I'd have to go back to setting it. And I really feel it when I'm one skating. I kind of feel like now I'm almost in an opposite rounded position, but then when I look at my technique, I'm actually straight. Whereas before I was probably bent over the other way. So it feels really, for me, arched and sticking my chest out kind of. And at first it felt really weird, but it actually keeps me in a straighter position, and I'm able to engage all through my back and my arms, not just my arms when I'm pulling.
And same thing for diagonal strides, so it's really easy to apply to one skate and two skate, but diagonal strides, same thing. Like if we try and round too much in the shoulders, it just puts a lot of stress. We have to wing the elbow a lot more, so it's a concept that kind of applies to a lot of our techniques. And I think for some people, it's a really, you probably already do it. I know for sure I've talked to a few of you this week about this concept, like Connor for one, Hennick out the shoulders. So this morning's ski, I'd like to really sort of try and work in this area, and we as coaches can provide some feedback in it, because it's going to, one, make you a healthier skier, but it's also going to make you a more powerful, dynamic skier in the long run.
Especially like all those things in the gym you do to like work on your shoulder position and stuff. I wasn't really applying it to skiing before. It was like stuff I did in the gym. I didn't really think about it in my technique in skiing. So now I've kind of started thinking about like all those movements, like keeping your lats down and engaged, and all these little things I'm doing in the gym are actually for my technique. So kind of thinking of it that way. It's like instead of doing all these exercises in the gym and then just going and skiing the same way you've always skied, kind of applying all those little functional movement things that they're making you do for a reason. It's supposed to help your skiing.
So before we go, I'd like everyone just to kind of practice just like putting one hand in the front, one hand in the back, and essentially so the first thing you want to do is you want to engage through your transverse abdominis, which is like that feeling you get of like trying to stop the flow of pee, and then you also want to make sure from there then you're able to get your back into the right position. For some people it might mean actually hinging the hips underneath you a little bit. For some people it might mean having to hinge the hips backwards a little bit. So Daria is more of like a back. I think I'm a bit more of like a hinge underneath me. So maybe just partner up and do the two. Because really what you want to do is you want to be able to see a neutral spine position. So you don't want to be rounded. You don't want to be you don't want to have the hips too far back. So you want. Does everybody know what neutral spine from physio work or functional movement work? If not, you can Google it really easy too. But my last point with all this, and then we'll go and ski after we practice a couple times, is our whole goal with technique is how can we be more efficient, more balanced at higher speeds. And as a nation, I think it's an area we're not so strong at, which is if you think like sprint qualifier speed, sprints like that highest level of max aerobic speed. I think we break down more in our technique, and we're not able to hold it and be smooth and efficient. And so I think it just costs us time. We end up slowing down more over a sprint qualifier. And as I kind of told you this week, it's not necessarily who goes the fastest in a race, it's who slows down the least in a race. So being able to hold that high speed position, like Alex Harvey is probably one of the best in the world at it. So we don't have to look too far to be able to figure that out. All right, so let's just do a little bit of work on that position, and then when you're out skiing, every lap, when you get over to the top of the hill, maybe just like pull to the side, just kind of reset, and then get going to this flat section here. Is a really good chance to kind of just try and work on that position, try and feel that balance.